Okay. Shall we? Okay, so we saw two shlokas in Sadhana Panchakam. First shloka was Vedo Nityamadhiyatam Taduditam Sang Karma Sonishtiyatam. That is the first shloka. Yesterday we saw the second shloka. I will recite the second shloka and then move on to the third for today. Sangas Satsu Vidhiyatam Bhagavato Bhaktir Dridahadiyatam Shantyadi Parichiyatam Dridataram Karmashu Santyajyatam Satvidwan Upasrupyatam Pratidinam Tatpaduka Sevyatam Brahmaikaksharamadhyatam Sudishiro Vakyam Samakarnyatam. So, yesterday, what we saw, those 8 instructions, are broadly taking us to Shravana. So, if you have to do Shravanam, then we should go to a learned person and who will give us little knowledge on Atman, Upanishads, Om, because that is the only way we can start. See, this is one subject which we should not read by ourselves. It is very important. Never ever try to read any of these Prakarana Granthas by yourself. It will be an utter waste of time. There is so much of interpretation involved. After we have heard once, we can read. It's not a katha. There is a lot of good arthas. There are a lot of deep meanings and interpretations possible. Therefore, we should never take a book like chemistry or physics. Even chemistry, physics, sometimes we need somebody to little bit teach us what to talk of Atma Vidya. So, in the second shloka, it is being told that Sadvidwan Upasrupyatam Pratidhyam Tat Paduka Sevyatam. By that, what is indicated is look for a guru who is little learned, who can give the Vakyartha, Lakshyartha, all those, because that kind of a background will give us the right perspective to the text that we want to read. So, today in an era of YouTube and all that, things have become slightly easier. For example, there are good Santa Mahajanas who have a lot of YouTube channel and all that. So sometimes if it is not possible to go and see a guru and access a guru although there is a difference between a personal interaction and a YouTube interaction, but still it is better than not having it. So, so that is what is coming. Shravanam is important. After you clean up your daily life, which is the first stanza, there is an operation manual, go by the instructions, understand that you have to make your life a little more effective and so on. Moment you have done that, that is the first 8 instructions. Second 8 instructions is pushing us towards Shravanam. That's what it says, Sangha Sasu Vidhiyatam, go to Satsanga because chances of Shravanam is high. And, Karmashu Santajyatam, Sadvidam Upasipitam and all that. So then we'll move on to the third shloka. So the second shloka, get into bhakti with the right support system. That is mantra 9 and 10, instruction 9 and 10. Bring wandering mind into a state of rest, instruction 11 and 12. Okay. Get blessed with the guru who will impart teachings to you, instruction 13 and 14. get to know the essence of self-evolution, which is all this Shruti Shiro Paksham Samakanyatam. Start doing the Shravana. So 16 instructions are over. So we will see the third, which is 17 to 24. Vakyartascha vicharyata Shrutishira Paksha Samashriyata Dustarkat Suviramyata Shrutimataha Tarkonusandhiyata Brahmasmiti Vibhavyatam Aharaha Garva Parityajyata Dehe Hammati Rujyata Buddhajanaihi Vadah Parityajyata. So what it is saying now is again 8 here. Vakyartascha vicharyatam. Understand the meaning of the Vakya. Vakya always means Veda Vakyas. That is the meaning. You say Vakya, basically, quite often what it means is the Vedic repository. Not just the Mahavakya, but the Vedic repository. So Vakyartascha vicharyatam. Inquire. So from Shravana, you go into a little bit of Mananam. Inquire. Vakyartascha vicharyatam. Shruti shiraha pakshaha samashriyatam. Bend or slant towards the ideas of Shruti Shiras, which is the Upanishad. So as we do the Mananam, we get to see more and more sense to what is happening. So that is second. I'll take it in a little more detail. I'm just saying. Dustarka suviramyatam. Don't waste your time into all kinds of unnecessary tarkas. Shruti mataha tarko anusudha. On the other hand, you advance your argument so that you go towards the Shruti, what is told in the Shruti. That frame of mind, if the Tarka helps you to get there, you should get there rather than Dustarka. So all that is seeing, we'll see one after the other. So basically, what is being slowly introduced here is the Shravana, Mananam and Nididhyasanam. That is where Acharya is taking us through these instructions. Okay? What happens when you do a Shravanam? It is only Ajnana Nivritti. Jnana Sampadanam has not happened, but Ajnana Nivritti will happen. That is the value of Shravanam. By Shravanam, the Neti will happen. At least this is not what it is. I may not know what it is, but at least I know this is not what it is. So Ajnana Nivritti can happen through Shravanam. That is the value of Shravanam. Unnecessary wrong, we will not be on the wrong road. At least we jump to the right road. We may not have started our progress. We may not have even moved 1 inch. That is okay. But at least we are on the right road now. So our road, our GPS for the right road is Shravanam. At least Shravanam will get us the Ajnana Nivritti. That is the Prayojana of Shravanam. Then we have Mananam. So what is the value of Mananam? Samshaya Nivritti. Whatever we have received is just a piece of knowledge. The more and more we ruminate on that, the more and more we keep thinking about it, doubts will come, the doubts will slowly get, either for ourselves, we will be able to do Samshaya Nivritti, or we can always go to somebody and get a little bit of Samshaya Nivritti. But that happens only when we get into Mananam. In Shravanam doesn't happen. Shravanam is only a Ajnana Nivritti. And in the Mananam, Samshaya Nivritti can happen. Then Nididhyasanam will give Viparita Nivrittihi. All the wrong kind of things will all disappear. That's how the Jnana will finally come. So Acharya, what he is doing is, in the second shloka, he was emphasizing on Shravanam. Whereas here, he is talking about a little bit of Mananam. That's what these instructions are all about. So from the Ajnana Nivritti, we should go to Samshaya Nivritti as the next step in our journey of our progress. So Vakyartascha Vicharyatam, Shruti Shiraha Pakshaha Samashiyatam. These are the next two instructions. Instruction number 17 and 18 are these two. So what is implied here? What is implied here is the contemplation of the Upanishads. Vakyartascha, how is Vichara happens? Not by listening. Vichara happens only by just going through that and trying to make sense of what we have gathered. The moment you use the word Vichara, it is an indication of Mananam. It is an indication of contemplation. You can't receive just information. It's not only about Vedanta Tattva. The teacher introduces a new concept in calculus or real analysis. You have to go back and then think about it. Na? Just because the teacher said something called queuing theory, birth and death process, nothing happens. Oh, you have got some familiarity. Now you have to contemplate, understand it a little bit. Maybe you go over it by yourself, work out a sample problem or something. In the process, we will get to know, oh, this is what it is, and all that happens. Na? So same way. So contemplation is inevitable. What we have got as a conceptual idea, if it has to get deeper into us, we have to do contemplation. That's why Vakyartascha Vicharyatam. Because Pratidinam Tat Paduka Sevyatam, he will give you the the meaning of things and so on. That's all the Guru can do. Guru cannot open your, even if he's a neurosurgeon, he cannot open your skull and then inject something so that all the ideas. Shankaracharya says, I think Viveka Chudamani only, he says that I cannot borrow your eye and then see the beauty of the moon. There is one shloka, Viveka Chudamani like that. I cannot borrow your eye and then see the, it is my individualized experience. So Guru can cajole you, catalyze you. So you have to do that vichara. He puts you into that. He primes you. Otherwise, I don't know where to start. See, all these sessions are like that. At least now we know where to start. Na? We may not have got what we wanted, but before coming here, I myself was clueless about what is going to happen to this Atma Bodha. That's where all of us were. At least today we know, oh, this is what, at least we have got a direction now. So if willing, we can actually take it logically a few steps by vichara. So Guru will do that Shravanam, because continuous Guru Seva will also get the other things. I'm just saying that after Shravanam, it is the contemplation of the ideas which is very important. It is simply because, why is it important? Because the subject matter requires multiple methods of articulation. So Acharya also gives so many different examples, even in Atma Bodha. Because it is not a vastu which is drishya padartha. It is not that. It is indriya para, atindriya vishaya. You cannot capture it through indriya. So now, what we cannot capture through indriyas, we are trying to capture through indriyas. This is the inherent limitation. That's why you have to try it in very, very different way. That's why you have to do what is called tatastha lakshana. Some shlokas in Atma Bodha are now going to be tatastha lakshanas. I'll tell what tatastha, at that time we will see. But what I'm saying is we need to approach it from multiple directions. Only then we will make. That's why the same idea is told differently in the 10 Upanishads in 10 different ways. They say the same thing, we have lost our value. The Srishti Prakarana, you will find is told differently in different places. In Ramayana, right? Jatayu fell. After fighting with Ravana, he fell. Then Rama comes there. This happens in Aranyakanda. Sri Rama comes there. Here he was search of Sita Mata. He comes there. This Jatayu is there. Jatayu tried to prevent it and then it fell. Na? So, Jatayu knows who Rama was actually. So, but Jatayu asked, Rama asked, who are you? Then Jatayu said, I am Jatayu. He gave its background. Sampati is my brother and Suparna, we are Suparnaya and all that. Jatayu asked, who are you? He said, I am Dasharatha Putra. Jatayu says, I know and all that. But when Rama asked Jatayu, who are you? In one sarga, I don't know if you remember, in one sarga, the entire Srishti is presented in about 40 shlokas. Completely. Just about 40 shlokas, Valmiki has given the Srishti Prakarana in a particular method. Whereas you have to read the entire Tritriya Skanda of Srimad Bhagavatam to get the Srishti Prakarana. Because there it is told in a different way. Right? The same Srishti is told differently in Vayu Purana. Why are they doing it? Because subject matter is so complex, you should not say the same way. You should say, we are like blind men. So we have to touch one side and say elephant looks like a pillar. Somewhere we have to touch and see, oh, elephant looks like a wall. Somewhere we should touch and say it looks like a rope, etc., etc. The subject matter is very complex, and that all the more requires we do vichara. That's why he says, Vakyartascha vicharyatam. Okay? And because nothing is available in the outside world as pramana, that is the problem. The pramana is not outside. It is neither pratyaksha, nor anumana, nor upamana. Still, we are trying all those methods, hoping somewhere it will click and some ideas we will get. You understand it only when you retire all your indriyas. That's what happened in Shuddhi, but we were not aware of it. Consciousness was not there. We retired all the indriyas and we touched the Atman for some time, but unconsciously, not consciously. The chit was subdued. In the Atman, the chit was subdued at that point in time. Sat was there. Ananda was there. Chit was subdued. That's why the consciousness was not there in the sleeping mode because of the tamas, because of the avarana of the tamas. But we touched. That's why we got up and then with some past tense we said, I had a good sleep. Oh, fantastic. Felt very good. All that I am feeling very good on account of that. All that is it. There's no pramana outside. Everything is inside. And this is the very reason why these two instructions are given. That's why it says Vakyartascha vicharyatam sutishiraha pakshaha samarshyatam. You repeatedly contemplate, repeatedly hear more than in all these scriptures. For example, Atma Bodha, you should hear half a dozen people. Much better. You know, they all tell it differently. Bhagavad Gita, I have 30 books of Bhagavad Gita. 30 commentaries of Bhagavad Gita. I have one bookshelf, one full row is 40 books of Bhagavad Gita, different people. So that's what I need. With one book, it is not going to go anywhere. With one Shravanam also, it is not going to go anywhere. I also hear many people's Bhagavad Gita pravachana. Because the subject matter is like that. That's why this Mananam is all the more valuable in Atma Vidya. So Acharya gives these two instructions. Vakyartascha vicharyatam Shutishara Pakshaha Samash. So there are, what happens when you do this contemplation? Repeated contemplation. There are some frameworks which help us, actually. That's what happens when you hear more, when you hear, because the same idea is told in Manisha Panchakam differently, same idea is told differently in Bhagavad Gita, same idea is told differently in Aproksha Anubhuti. Same idea only, finally, that we have to know ourselves. Finally, it is half a liner, that we all should know ourselves, and we are struggling hard for it. And thousands of pages have been written on that. But what happens when you go through all that? For example, we'll get in one text, if you see, you'll understand Avastatraya or Dehatraya. Mandukya Upanishad will give you that idea. There is something called Avastatraya or Dehatraya. Prajna, right? Bahishprajna, Prajna, like that you have all that in Mandukya Upanishad. Antaprajna, Bahishprajna, Prajna. Then the fourth, Turiya. So maybe if you understand, who understand the reality from that perspective. If you read Taittiriya Upanishad, you understand this whole Panchakosha business. Oh, we are actually buried in the Panchakoshas. That idea would have never come to us. And that would clarify some part of it, that will help us for some neti also. That is why this repeated content, so you will get a Panchakosha, just some frameworks. Nitya Vichara. Because some texts actually emphasize that. Oh, then we should actually, anything that we do, we should also start understanding what is Nitya and what is Anitya. That framework will come. That contemplation will help us cover the ground from one more dimension. Nitya, Nitya. Vichara. Satyam, Mithya, Sat, Satyam, Mithya, Adhyaropa, Apavada. There is another kind of framework. That also adds to this understanding of all these. We saw Adhyasa. We saw what is Mithya. Rajju Sarpavat. See, Mithya, there is a difference between Mithya and an object not being there. Mithya means you see an object on another object which is not there. That is Mithya. That is called Mithya. You should be able to see B on A when B is not there. After some time, B disappears. B is existent. They are all Satta. Elephant, snake is a Satta. It belongs to the domain of existence. Snake belongs to the domain of existence. Rope belongs to the domain of existence. But what is Mithya? Mithya is seeing snake in a rope, which will disappear after some time. Seeing mirage in the desert, which will disappear after some time. Both are Sattas. So that is called Mithya. So that framework will help us. So Acharya say that, Jagat is a Mithya. Moment you woke up, it will go. Dream is a, the entire dream is a Mithya. Moment you woke up, it disappeared. But the objects were there. They are all part of the existence only. You don't dream anything non-existent. In fact, your world of existence only gets into the dream also. You don't dream something which is not there. No, people actually argue, no, we did a R&D and found a new material. Our Vedantins say that belong to the domain of existence. You pulled it out of the bag now. It all belonged to the set of existence. Computer belonged to that set of existence. That's why computer came out. Otherwise, computer would have never come out. An iPad or iPod belonged to the Satta. You pulled it out of the bag. For which I will give you credit. That's okay. I'll give you credit. You really put some effort and pulled it out. It is not, it came from nowhere. That is our position. Okay, so Satyam, Mithya, Adhyaropa, etc. Maya, Avidya is another framework for us to understand. Okay? Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Karma, Vasana, Punarjanma. So the more and more we do content, I just threw a few frameworks to tell all these frameworks will come to our understanding only by this mana. Otherwise, we'll be clueless standing somewhere, saying, oh, Brahman, I am Brahman, and then you can keep on saying, one day you get tired and that's it. After that, you can't even say that you're already tired. Neither conviction nor nothing. So that is why we need all these kind of manana and all these frameworks and so on. So, there are some Upanishadic statements. Paranchikani, I mentioned these many times. Paranchikani vyatrinat swayambhu tasmat parang pashyati nantaratman. This Swayambhu, this creator, designed it in such a way that everything is looking outside. That's why, we are not able to see inside. Kaschidiraha pratyagatma avekshit avrita chakshuhu amritattu nicham. Kaschidiraha, one fellow, oh, I want to know who I am. Enough of all this. He is Dhira. He uses buddhi so well. That's why he's called Dhira. So we can contemplate this statement now. This statement is telling something to us. We have to repeatedly contemplate this. Kaschidiraha pratyagatman avekshan avrita chakshuhu amritatvam. Ashnute. Avrita chakshuhu amritatvam ashnute. That is what, right? So many of these kind of statements are to be contemplated. I just took an example. Many of these statements need to be contemplated actually. That is what it is. All the more, the biggest of the things which are to be contemplated are the Mahavakyas, the 4 Mahavakyas. Prajnanam Brahma. Prajnanam Brahma is only a definition. Look at this character of these 4 Mahavakyas. Prajnanam Brahma is a definitional part of the truth. Tattvamasi is an advice. Same Mahavakya, Prajnanam Brahma is a definition. That's all. It is not saying anything. Whereas Tattvamasi it is an instruction. See, that is what you are. So that is a kind of an advice or an instruction. I am Atma Brahma. You are now closer now. I am Atma Brahma is an experience, whereas Aham Brahmasmi is the realization. So even the four Mahavakyas bring four different ways of even understanding that concept. Only by Mananam we have to make sense of all these. Right? Prajnana Brahma is a definition. Tattvamasi is advice. I am Atma Brahma is a certain experience. Aham Brahmasmi is a realization. So like this, every one of these Vakyas, that's why that Vakyas are all to be Vicharyatam. Vakyartaha Vicharyatam is why, that's why, Acharya is saying all that. Then comes the next two instructions, which is Dustarkat Suviramyatam, Shrutimataha Tarkaha Anusandiyatam. So there are a pair of instructions on argument, on how do you use your faculty of speech and all that. If you really think about it, there is a lot of scope for senseless argument in our world, which many of us are also many times doing it. There's a lot of scope for senseless arguments. And really, keep arguing something, right? Kutarka, they call it as Kutarka. No? So this kind of Vitarka, Kutarka, all those are there. What is Acharya trying to tell here? Dustarka Suviramyatam, Shruti Mataha Tarkaha Anusandiyatam. That Shruti Mataha Tarkaha Anusandiyatam, you know what does it mean? It says, use the cardinal principle of logic to understand the Shruti. Tarka is actually logic and argumentation. Nyaya Shastra, right? There are the first mantra in the Nyaya Darshana is 17 elements make up reality. So it starts. Pramana Prameya, Pramata Pramana Prameya, like that it goes. 17 of them are there. Correct knowledge is obtained when you have all the 17. Tarka, Jalpa, Vada, Vitanda. There is something called Vitanda. There are 17 things which you have to use to get the right knowledge. That's why it's called Tarka Shastra. That is the first sutra of Nyaya Darshana. The rest of the Nyaya Darshana only takes each one of them, then explains it. The Prameya. Prameya is the object. Pramata is the knower. Prameya is what is known. Pramana is the means of knowing, the right forms of knowledge. This is called Tripudi. In Atmabodha, we are going to get Tripudi tomorrow. That time we will see this. Prameya, entire Prameya is explained by Vaisheshika. This is how Vaisheshika contributed. Vaisheshika talked about Prameya. It said, I will tell you everything about object. That's why Anu, everything is there. Law of motion, everything is there. Newton's law of motion is also there. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Is written in a particular way there, actually. So, Prameya is object. Pramatra is the subject. Pramana is right forms of knowledge. Tarka Shastra took a heavy emphasis on Pramana. That's why it's called Pramana Shastra. How do you establish valid forms of knowledge? That is called Tarka Shastra. He says, use the Tarka Shastra for the right reason. Understand Vedic injunctions with logic, proper logic. Use logic for that rather than for Vitanda. Rather than for Jalpa, Vada and Vitanda and all that. Don't, waste your time with all kinds of arguments. Okay? The Nyaya and Vaisheshika have a good grounding on how to engage in arguments. But I have been telling, in law college, for the lawyers and advocates, we should teach actually Tarka. They should be taught Tarka and Purva Mimamsa. Wonderful if that can be taught. I don't know why nobody thinks about it. Because logic and argumentation is established so well in Nyaya Vaisheshika, and the Vakya Shastra is there in Purva Pramasa. In Purva Mimamsa, beautifully available Vakya. I think a lawyer needs only these three. He should know how correctly to interpret statements. He should know how intelligently to argue and then lock somebody in the logic. Indians had a great tradition. No? All the great acharyas used only vada. They were not coercing you with anything. They brought logic to its best possible use. The Ubaya Bharati and the Mandana Mishra and Shankaracharya is a great vada. Because they were all trained in Tarka Shastra. So, Acharya is saying, learn, understand this Tarka. And use it for the right reason, not for the wrong reason. That means you will not do self-evolution. You will only destroy yourself. That's why I've taken both of them together. It says, Dustarkat suviramyatam, Shruti mataha tarkaha anusandiyatam. Anusandana means again contemplation, thinking, inquiring deeply, etc., etc. So he says, use it for Shruti mata. The concepts established in Shruti, that is Shruti mata, na? Mata means start. Mata means start, right? So Shruti mata. So the ideas and concepts established in Shruti, try to understand it with the sound framework of logic and argumentation. Don't use the framework of logic and argumentation for all kinds of things, and then you are just only wasting your effort. Dusturka suviramyata. See, viramyata means rest or keep off. Acharya has put one upasarga, su. Su is good. Suviramyata. Properly, very well, you get out. That is what he is saying. Dustarkat suviramyata. See, he says swagatam. Then we say suswagatam. That su adds a little more to it. Always upasargas enriches the meaning, strengthens the meaning. That is the purpose, one of the purpose for upasargas in Sanskrit. There are only, I think, 18 upasargas, not more than that. Pari, right? We, su, we, are, like that. They're all used only to strengthen. They play four roles actually. One is to strengthen, other is to give an opposite meaning. Like that, it is there. Anyway, so he's saying suviramyata. Okay. Anu is another upasarga. Anu is follow. Anusandiyata. Okay. Anusandana, which means follow that thought more carefully, which means you repeatedly think about it. That's the meaning. Anusandana, right? Anusandiyatam. So use logic and argumentation only for this. Don't waste your time on other things. So in Nyaya Shastra, as I told you, there is what is called Vada, Jalpa, and Vitanda. I'll tell you what these are. Vada means both persons. Vada happens between two persons, no? Vada means both persons have a desire to know the truth. So they argue with an open mind with no fixed opinion on the matter. That is called Vada. Some is only a Visarga, no? A Upasarga too. You do the Vada well. Samyak Vada etu, Samvada. So don't worry too much about the Upasargas. Generally they enrich the meaning. So Samvada is a good Vada. Okay. So, you know, this whole structure, our acharyas had a great, this is the charm we lost today. For example, you know, the Jainas and the Buddhas and the Shankaracharyas and Ramanujacharya, they didn't agree with anything. But they had terrific respect with which they argued. They never talked about a person, they talked about the Siddhanta. That was the charm of their argument. Because they used Vada. There are other things. So in that, there is a Purva Paksha and then there is Siddhanta. That is the methodology. You make a counter viewpoint and then you explain. See, there is this SEC filings, the Security Exchanges Commission, USA. They have SEC. See, when I run cases, I actually read the SEC filings of the companies actually, because it helps me. I find a lot of Purva Paksha there, that they have imbibed that concept. You take Amazon's K11 or some statement, whatever, they will say these are all the things which can go wrong. Inventory will, you should read those SEC filings. Inventories will pile up. Our suppliers will not supply us. Our software providers will not give us everything they will say at the beginning. That's how Shankaracharya does in all his bhashyas. He will only do the counter argument first. And he'll give samadhana for all of them. Put the Purva Paksha and then give a samadhana, establish the Siddhanta. This method is called Vada, Tarka Shastra. Then we have what is called Jalpa. This Jalpa is a methodology. See, in the Vada, the idea is both of us have a genuine interest to know the truth. If you are in that framework, you have to do Vada. But there is something called Jalpa. It's all part of Nyaya Shastra, the Sutras will come. Jalpa. Jalpa means the idea of the argument is to destroy others' position and establish one's own. You finish him and then establish yours. If you have to take that methodology, that is called Jalpa. That's a technical word in the Shastra. It is called Jalpa. You destroy opponent's position and establish your position. If you have to do it, that methodology is called Jalpa. Then you have Vitanda. Okay? Vitanda is even much inferior. You know what Vitanda is? The intention of the person is only to destroy the other's position, without having any personal view on the matter. My job is to destroy your opinion. I don't have any opinion. If that has to be done, then one has to use what is called Vitanda. So like this, all these are there. Since Tarka is, I just said Vada, Jalpa, Vitanda, all those are there. And our Acharyas have used all of them at an appropriate position they have used. See, the Shunyavada of Buddhists, Shankaracharya has very strongly argued with enormous logic how the Shunyavada takes us nowhere. Shunyavada is a very important thing for Nagarjuna. It's a conversation. Shankaracharya has given left, right, center and destroyed it with logic. It doesn't take us anywhere like that. So that is the culture of Vada. Yeah, in a Tarka framework, we can say like that. That to establish the Purva Paksha and come to the Siddhanta. We can say that. From a Tarka framework, we can say something like that. The Viparita Bhavana gets Nivriti of the Viparita Bhavana. Understand others or counter viewpoint. In many of Shankara's bhashyas, there is no other side. He has only said. He creates his own objection. There is not only everybody to object. He has written all the objection and gives samadhana. So it ends there. There is no more to ask. So rather than saying the other person, I will say other viewpoint. That's a better way to say. Purva Paksha is the counter viewpoint. Either a person raises it, Shankara in all his bhashyas, he only raises it. He himself raises the Purva Paksha and he gives the Samadhana and the Siddhanta. Like that. It can be other person. In any case, the point is the counter viewpoint or the other view. No, we have totally lost all that capability today. We have lost today. In fact, many people are saying I agree with them. You know what is the biggest problem with the Hindus? Hindus, first of all, they don't know anything about themselves. They don't know anything about Islam and Christianity. Those guys first thoroughly read Hinduism. They know the Purva Paksha. Thoroughly they read. In the theological schools, they first read thoroughly so that they know where to attack. They identify fault lines and attack. We don't know ours own. Forget about theirs. Somehow we lost all these traditions somewhere. That is the point. We lost all these traditions somewhere. We have to, high time we get back to those traditions. It's very important that we should know ours and we should know the opponents also. Otherwise, very difficult. What's the problem? So, what is this Dustarka? If you want to know a good amount of Dustarka, you should go to Charvaka philosophy. In fact, the interesting thing is, when I wrote the book on Charvaka, in my book, I have to write a section on Charvaka. So I what I found is unlike, if you take Advaita or Visishta Advaita or Dvaita or, like that, Purva Mimamsa, Uttara Mimamsa, if you take Ishwara Krishna has written the Sankhya Darshan, Patanjali has written the Yoga Darshan. There is no such book for Charvaka. That's the first thing I found. Charvaka is something which has happened, the Vyavahara, somebody has just crystallized it and called it as Charvaka. There is no book, there is no Siddhanta, there are no set of what you may call commandments or all those. Great difficulty, I found a bunch of material. That's what everybody said. I read before writing that section on Charvaka, I read. He's only a bunch of certain ideas. I'll tell you 2, 3 of them. Yavat jivet sukham jivet. Okay. Rinam krutva gritam pibet. This is exactly what we are doing today. It says, as long as you live, enjoy. Yavat jivet sukham jivet. First to understand here, you have to enjoy. Let anything happen, you have to enjoy. Indriya sukha. Okay. Then it says, Rinam krutva gritam pibet. Take loan and then buy ghee and consume it. Credit card technology. Subprime crisis. Subprime crisis of 2018, 2008. Borrow. Why are you bothered? You just borrow. That is Charvaka philosophy.
Without knowing, we have adopted it.
Yeah, without knowing, no, we have been told in that way, and we thought that is Brahma Satyam. We have known. Yeah, it says Rinam Kritva Gritam Pibet. Then this is their position. What is their position? Purushartha. There is a statement for that. You know what it is? Kama eva ekaha Purushartha. This is a Charvaka philosophy. You don't need 4 Purusharthas. Kama is the only Purushartha you need. That's why Yavat Jive Sukham Jive. Pratyakshameva Pramana Shastra, they have a view. Pratyakshameva Pramana. What you can see is truth. What you can't see is not truth. These are all Dustarkas. And we have all gotten into it unwittingly, a lot of us. Today, you have Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Na? 4 Purusharthas are there. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Moksha is called Apavarga. So you leave it. So we have now 3 now. Dharma, Artha, Kama. In Sanatana Dharma, it is exactly in that order. Dharmasya Palanam, Dharmasya Anusritya Arthaha, Dharmasya Arthasya Anusritya Kamaha. What are we doing today? We start from the right end. I need a car, somebody is giving you loan. Whether you can repay a loan or not, let us see later here. Kama eva ka purushartha. That's where we start. Kamasya anusarena artha. Take some speed money. I need more money. Take bribes. Create some speed money because I have to fulfill my desire. So now we are exactly going the reverse direction. Kama eva pratama purushartha. Kamasya anusritya artha. If these can be satisfied, we'll think about dharma. Until then, we'll violate dharma.
Itself is dharma.
Yeah. So the other things are all gone. This is the Charvaka thing. These are all Dustarkas. There are a lot of people who are arguing God is not there, is a Dustarka. It's so illogical according to me. God is not there, I don't waste my time. I say, good luck, I don't want to talk to you. I respect your sentiment and your feeling. God bless you. I can't say God bless you. Somebody bless you. Some ex bless you. I have to say like that. These are all Dustarkas. So he says, get out of all that. Converge and conserve your energy into Shruti Mata. That's what these instructions are. Brahmasmiti vibhavyatam bhavayatu visishtena bhavayatu vibhavyatam. Okay. So if we are able to do all that, we will travel on Aham Brahmasmi route actually. Right? That thought will slowly grow in us. He says, grow the thought slowly. Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, iti vibhavyatam, visishtena bhavayatu. Develop that thinking, develop that thought in you. Slowly, slowly, let it happen. Let us not be in great hurry. Let it happen slowly, slowly. But let us do that. So that is the next instruction. And all these will follow. If you go in that order, we will come here. That's why it's all these instructions are strictly chronological. Don't jump back or forth. Go in that order. So he says, Brahmasmiti vibhavyatam. That is the 21st instruction. Then 22nd instruction. Aharaha garvaha parityajyatam. You know why he is saying that? This is for many people. They know Epsilon and they say, I know Mount Everest. That garva comes here. A lot of people it happens. Unwittingly it happens. They know a little bit and then they think they know everything. They know Brahma Satyam. And they flaunt their little knowledge. Sometimes they get exposed, but that's a different story. But generally they flaunt their knowledge. They throw their weight. So Acharya actually cautions us there. When you are traveling this path, garva will come to you. Be careful. Watch out. He's cautioning us because you suddenly start thinking, I know everything. I know more than all of you. So, I should now throw all my weight and say, oh, I'm so and so. And, there's so much weight that I carry. A lot of people have that problem actually. That means they are only destroying themselves. Instead of traveling on the path of evolution, they are traveling on the path of destruction. This is what all the Puranas are doing. What did Ravana do? What did Hiranyakashipu do? After all that good knowledge, Garva came. And, I call it as Bhasmasura technology. The entire Puranic story is so good to me. People only destroy themselves. They don't need, they put their hand on the head. All are Bhasmasuras only. Ravana, there are so many references. When Rama put the bridge, crossed Lanka, which he thought was impossible, it happened. Crossed and came here into Lanka for the final war. So many thoughts come to Ravana. Oh, the Nandi whom I actually insulted, has he come? Oh, that lady Pushka, what is her name? I destroyed Vedavati and then one more Pushkalata or somebody. I destroyed their modesty. They have come as Sita. So Ravana only destroyed himself. He needed, I have seen it in my personal experience. I was a dean and I got one fellow destroy himself. He was very influential in my institute and he was creating such a ruckus. I walked him into death. Death meaning he just was thrown out of the institute finally. And people ask me, sir, how did you say? I did nothing. He is Bhasmasura. He put his hand on his. I facilitated the process for him to put his hand on his head. Simple. You have to, all the wicked people, you have to walk them through the right path for them. So that they will finally put their hand on their head and then they will burn to ashes. This is what happens. I have seen in 3 years, I have done so many things in IE Bangalore as a dean. So many cleaning actually happened actually. All up to me were guided by this technology of Bhasmasura technology. I will only facilitate them to do more and more mischief and then finally they'll walk into the trap and then perish. Some of them came and then cried later. I said, God help you, go and pray. One fellow went up to the High Court. High Court judge asked how many more years he has. I told 2 years. Let him go home and eat. He went for appeal. The judge said, throw him out. So he came to me one day. I said, go and pray here. You'll get some sad-buddhi now. Go and pray. That's all. So this garva will come to a lot of people. We have to be very, very careful. Little bit of knowledge, little bit of position, little bit of, particularly this knowledge gives so much. Vidya dadhati vinayam, I don't know who wrote. Because 90% I find Vidya na dadhati vinayam here. Little bit people know and they think they know too much here. And they throw their weight. That is what Acharya is cautioning. He's saying, chapter, I actually, if you want to have a good understanding of what will happen, you should, I was just looking at it, you should look at chapter 17 of Bhagavad Gita. Daivasuri Sampat. In the Asuri Sampat, you go and read. It will show what will happen to a fellow who has Garva. I just found a few shlokas. Suddenly I remembered. It will very beautifully say why Garva will just finish you. Just I'll read one sloka for just sake of it. It says, Idamadhya mayalabdam imam prapse manoratam. I got this today. I'll get that tomorrow. Okay? Idam asmiti api me bhavishyanti punardanam. I'll keep on making more and more. I finished him. I'll finish him tomorrow. All these slokas are there. That is what Garbha will do. So we have to be very watchful of our own ahankar. Acharya cautions, be very watchful. Your journey will become vyartha. Very watchful. Try to, moment it goes one step, pull it back 2 steps. It is the kind of, thing that he is talking about. Deheham iti matirujyatam. Deheham matirujyatam. Rujyatam is give up. Take out. I am the body. Take out that feeling slowly. We talked about it enough, so I'm not going to get into it. I am the body. Come out of the feeling. Make effort to come out of the feeling. That means we will not do the udasina of the body. We will respect the body to what it is worth and what it is required. Because we have to give it back to Prakriti. So we'll keep it properly for that purpose. That kind of a thing. Right? So I am not the body is not mine, body is not for me. That is intended of this particular instruction. Deheham matirujyatam. You take out that thought from your mind, I am the body. The body is not mine, body is not for me. Be very watchful of that. That is instruction 23. Then comes the last instruction for this shloka. Buddhajanaihi vadaha parityajyatam. Don't engage in unnecessary, needless argument with these wise people. That's what he is saying. Being knowledgeable of the words. This is the problem. Being knowledgeable of the words is different from being wise of the wisdom. Knowledge is not wisdom. There's plenty of knowledge today. So the other day, Sundir Bhai was saying, everything, and I look up to BB, and then whatever I will do. He was saying, I remembered I was standing in the queue in Cambodia. We were checking out of Cambodia and going to Thailand. We were standing in the queue. One fellow was wearing a t-shirt. I was just standing behind him. You know what is written in the t-shirt? I don't need Google anymore. My wife knows everything. It's written like that. I don't need Google anymore. So, what he's saying, no, I know everything. I know everything. And knowledge is, Google is available. Google has plenty of knowledge. Google doesn't have wisdom. Google has enormous knowledge. Knowledge is not wisdom. So, wisdom is with Buddhajanaha. Buddhajanaihi vadaha parityajyatam. Because knowledge becomes wisdom only by introspection. Whereas argument only can feed the ego. What can argument do? Argument can feed the ego. If ego needs some food, you can give by engaging in argument, showing I know better than you. I will correct your vocabulary. No, that point is not correct. I don't know what benefit we get out of doing all that. Best thing is to just keep quiet. In Mundaka Upanishad, he says that he becomes Moni. Alpavadi, that is a word used in Mundaka Upanishad. He just stops talking. Okay. So he says inward withdrawal of one is significant. Step in self-evolution. So when you say Buddhajanai Vadaha Parityajyata, what does it mean? Become a little more silent. Learn to become. So this Mauna Vrata is a great idea. For me, still it is an idea. Looks like it is a very great idea. Mauna Vrata. So Acharyas, many of the Acharyas, when Ekadashi day, they are on Mauna Vrata. They don't talk. I asked my students in my Bhagavad Gita course, I asked my students to maintain Mauna Vrata 3 hours a day for 1 week. Some people do it and they write their experience. It's good to read. I tell them, I know practically you can't for hours, But I tell them you have to take the most busy hour. So they take 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock in the evening. That is the most crucial time for the MBA students. I tell them between 7 and 10 for 1 week, you have to be in Mauna Vrata. Some students try that experiment. In my Bhagavad Gita course, there are a lot of experiential learning. They write, Karthik, na? They write some very nice reports. What happened when they... Very beautiful experiences. They write. One year, Karthik corrected all the papers. I gave it to him. I said, you have to evaluate all these papers, so he knows what I am saying. So, sometimes that Mauna, Muni, the word Muni comes from Manana Shila. Muni has come from Manana Shila. You can do Manana only when you stop talking. Otherwise, Manana is not possible. This faculty has to be put to rest. Then only it will turn, no? So that is what Acharya is saying here. I think with that, we will stop. The 24 instructions are over. I will once again go through this sloka and we will stop. Vakyartascha vicharyatam Shrutishira Paksha Samashyatam Tustakat Suviramyatam Shrutimatastakkonu Sandhiyatam Brahmavsmiti Vibhavyatam Aharahar Garva Parityajyatam Deheham Matirujyatam Buddhajanaihi Vada Parityajyatam. Okay. We will stop here for the day. We'll close the day here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.